The world has a funny way of teaching you lessons, and for me, it took an entire lifetime of misery to finally understand that being kind is often just another word for being a target. In my past life, I was the definition of a loser. I was the guy everyone stepped on, the one who worked the double shifts while others took the credit, and the one who died with nothing but a pocket full of regrets and the bitter taste of betrayal. But fate decided I wasn't done yet. When I opened my eyes again, the air felt different. The sounds of the bustling city felt sharper, and I realized I had been given the ultimate second chance. I was back at the beginning, standing in that same greasy restaurant kitchen where my downfall first started. But this time, the man standing in those worn-out shoes wasn't a victim anymore. This time, I chose to be the one who dictates the rules. In this new life, I realized very quickly that power isn't just handed to you. It's something you carve out of the shadows. I started as a simple waiter, a ghost in the background that no one bothered to notice. But while I was clearing tables and pouring drinks, I was actually building a map of every player in the city. I knew who owed money to whom, which politicians were hiding dirty secrets, and exactly when the giants of the underworld would make their move. The people who used to laugh at me had no idea that the quiet man in the apron was slowly tightening a noose around their empires. I stopped playing by the book because the book was written by people who wanted me to fail. Instead, I started playing a game where I was always 3 steps ahead, turning every insult into an opportunity and every setback into a weapon. The transition from a restaurant floor to the high-stakes world of the underground wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I remember the first time I had to face the man who ruined me in my previous life. Back then, he was a mountain I could never climb, a shadow that loomed over my every move. But in this timeline, he was just a man with a lot to lose and a very loud mouth. Watching the realization dawn on his face when he realized I wasn't the coward he remembered was more satisfying than any amount of money. I didn't just want his business. I wanted to see the look in his eyes when everything he built crumbled because of a man he once considered invisible. That is the thing about being a loser who comes back. You know exactly where the foundations are weak, and you know exactly how much pressure it takes to make the whole structure collapse. As I climbed higher, the stakes became more dangerous, and the air got thinner, moving from the kitchen to the boardroom, and then to the secret rooms where the real power is held. Required a version of myself that was colder and more calculating. I had to shed the last remnants of that boy who used to care about being liked. In the underworld, being liked is a liability, but being feared is an asset. I started consolidating the smaller gangs, using their own greed against them, and offering them a choice. Follow a man who knows the future, or get crushed by the wheels of progress. Slowly, but surely. The name Sanjaya stopped being a name associated with a waiter and started being whispered in back alleys and luxury penthouses with equal parts respect and terror. What makes this journey different this time is the absolute lack of hesitation. When you've already felt the cold embrace of death, nothing in this life can truly scare you anymore. I took risks that seemed insane to others because I already knew the outcome. I played the stock market with the precision of a surgeon and navigated the treacherous waters of organized crime like I was reading a map I had drawn myself. There were nights when I sat alone in a massive office overlooking the city lights, a far cry from the cramped, moldy apartment of my past, and I wondered if the cost of this power was too high. But then I would remember the hunger, the disrespect, and the way the world laughed when I fell, and my heart would turn back to stone. My ascent wasn't just about wealth, it was about total control. I became a master of the long game, planting seeds of discord among my enemies, and watching them tear each other apart while I sat back and collected the pieces. The beauty of this transformation was that no one saw it coming. To the public eye, I was a mysterious entrepreneur with a golden touch. To the criminals, I was the invisible hand that guided the flow of the city's pulse. I learned that the greatest power isn't found in a gun or a pile of cash, but in the information you hold over those who think they are untouchable. I became the person who knows every secret and forgets nothing. By the time I reached the top, the view was breathtaking, but lonely. The people who once stood above me were now begging for a moment of my time. The enemies who tried to bury me were now just footnotes in my story. I realized that the tekid, that burning resolve I had when I first woke up, was the only thing that kept me human in a world that tries to turn you into a monster. I never forgot the feeling of that waiter's apron, and I never let myself get comfortable, because in a world of predators, The moment you stop moving is the moment you become prey again. Looking back at the path I traveled from the steam of a kitchen to the cold steel of the world, as summit I do UNT, regret a single choice. I didn't just survive. I conquered. I took the broken pieces of a failed life and forged them into a crown. This isn't just a story about revenge. It's a story about the absolute refusal to be a victim twice. I am no longer the man the world ignored. I am the man who owns the world, and I'm just getting started. Every shadow in this city now answers to me, and every light that shines reflects the empire I built from the ashes of a loser-esque dream.